Deputy Sean Kenny.
Thank you, Coolock. I wish to join with the previous speakers in expressing concerns at the manner in which the news of this bombshell came out of the blue to the workforce at Coolock, where it is predicted that somewhere between 90 and 110 will lose their jobs. For the workers who will be selected for redundancy, it will be a dark day when this happens. For many years, indeed for almost 60 years, Cadbury's in Coolock has been an iconic brand and has provided very good employment on the north side of Dublin. They were recently taken over by Mondelez, which is part of the food multinational group Kraft. The workforce in Cadbury's Mondelez have given sterling service to their company over the years, and it is very galling for them to learn that their jobs will be gone when the lines that they currently produce will be transferred to Poland, where there are lower wage costs. This fact has added to their anger and to that of their colleagues in Tallaght and Rathmore also. There is concern also that Mondelez are planning to restructure existing terms and conditions of employment, and the number of shifts with 12 lines will be, I understand, being planned to be consolidated into 6 lines. Paradoxically, all of this is happening after a recent announcement that €12 million was being invested in the Coolock plant by Mondelez. Concern has also been expressed to me regarding the future of the Cadbury's pension fund and the position of retired workers currently in receipt of a pension. I understand that their position is not secure under the TUPE, the Transfer of Undertakings of Employment legislation, and I would like the Minister to clarify this. I understand that the unions representing the workforce met with Mondelez management yesterday and that further talks are planned. In conclusion, Minister, can you say what you can do to minimise the effect of the proposed redundancies on the wider community in the Coolock and Northside area? And can you outline what retraining and reskilling options will be made available to the redundant workers, and will they receive assistance in accessing similar employment with the skills that they have acquired? Thank you.
Thanks, Deputy Kenny. Minister.
Well, I'd like to thank Deputies Flanagan, Brahan, Kenny and McGrath for raising this issue. I absolutely share their concern for the workers involved. Certainly this is a disappointment for many people. I know this company intimately over a long period. They first established in 1932 in Dublin, so they're here for a very long time. I suppose at any given time we're working with companies who are developing opportunities to grow, and we're also working with companies, which sadly includes Cadbury's, who are struggling with issues that they have to overcome. We put a lot of time and effort into working with Cadbury's in the hope that this could be avoided. I spoke directly at the highest level to the company seeking to have this not occur, but unfortunately the level of cost difference was such that they felt obliged to proceed with this. Nonetheless, as we outlined in our meeting earlier, the company is committing to an investment of 11.7 million in the site. It believes that it has a strong future in Dublin, and it is investing, putting hard money into that. Clearly, we will work with the company in seeking to deliver a site there and in Rathmore that can be successful and grow into the future. And I think it is worth recalling that in the Bausch and Lomb case, where we had real problems and a similar downsizing and a restructuring of terms and conditions and so on, we have emerged with the situation where that company is now growing and adding employment. And certainly that would be my hope, that in this case that will be the same again. I can assure the deputies that I have instructed Enterprise Ireland to do the coordination work across all of the agencies, from the Minister for Social Protection Services, Solace Services, the local enterprise offices, all the various services, NERA, who could be of support to workers in this situation. A number of deputies raised the issue of the transfer of undertakings legislation. This is legislation which provides a guarantee that if a person, if their employer changes, that change in itself can't change their terms and conditions. So at the point of transfer, their terms and conditions are protected. However, that doesn't mean that a restructuring arrangement cannot take place in those circumstances. The company is obviously entering into negotiations with the trade unions. I know it has a history of offering reasonable terms and conditions in these circumstances, but clearly this is a matter for the company and the trade unions to negotiate with. I suppose the challenge for us is to work through this and try to protect as many quality jobs in the plant that we can, that will have the capacity to grow and be competitive in the longer term. It is a tough and competitive world. Finian McGrath is right that investment in R&D, in innovation, in lean technology processes are absolutely crucial to maintaining strong manufacturing sectors, and we will stand ready to support the investment in those areas. Clearly, we cannot offer capital support in Dublin. The other element of this is that we are obviously going to look not just in Dublin and in Coolock, in Tala and in Kerry. We are very focused on finding alternative employment. That remains our abiding drive. In Dublin, we have had considerable success. In net terms, 35,000 extra people are back at work in the last 4 years in Dublin. And we are seeing some recovery in manufacturing after nearly 25 years of decline. So there are issues here that we need to work through, and I can assure you that the support of the agencies will be available to the workers affected, and also we'll be working with the company and the workers who remain to try to ensure that they have a strong and sustainable employment prospects when this process is through.
Thanks, Minister. So, Deputy Kenny.
Thank you, Coolock. I want to thank the Minister for his response and for meeting with the local TDs earlier today, along with the Enterprise Ireland. And I am glad to hear your assurance that you will use your office to ensure that redundant workers are provided with opportunities for retraining through Enterprise Ireland, through Solus and through LES. The message I'm getting from some of the workforce there is that the workforce in Coolock are actually in competition with other Mondelez sites around, and that because of the lower wage costs in Poland in particular, that some of the work has been transferred and people are losing their jobs in Coolock because it's cheaper to move to another site where there are lower wage costs. And I think that I think is very galling for workers who have worked for all their life in a particular company like Cadbury's, where they have contributed to the growth of the company and to the profits of the company. And you know, I think it's really disappointing for them to have to face this situation now. And I'm thankful for the opportunity to raise this here today.
Thanks, Deputy. For 2 minutes.
No, I think, you know, this is a reminder to us that, you know, every day it is a battle. I mean, we are trading in a very competitive global environment, and it is true that costs in a plant in a global group like that are compared to other locations. That, unfortunately, is the world in which we live in. And if we want to sustain higher pay, we have to have better production processes, higher efficiencies, and all of that. And that really is I suppose, one of the tough parts of the environment we're trying to compete in. But I think Ireland has been very successful at it. We've been very good adopters of lean technology. We are good at innovative. Our workers are very flexible, and that's true in all of our plants. Obviously, this comes as a huge blow, but I think the fact that the company are investing does give us the opportunity to work with that investment to ensure that what remains is a very competitive plant that will provide good jobs into the future. There are obviously alternative retraining opportunities, and we will, if you like, those who are losing their jobs are clear, an audit will be done of the skill and the needs, and talk to people to see what would best suit their needs, whether it be Solus training, NIBERT, the many options that are there that would re-equip them. I did raise the issue of a package with the company, and obviously that's an issue that they wish to negotiate directly with their trade unions, but they have in the past had reasonable packages. I think people would recognise that. They are fully committed to getting this plant up to the highest competitive standards. They want to get it up to what they would describe as a Tier 1 plant which would be a leader in their group. So there is a strong commitment here, and that obviously will require a lot of reskilling and so on. They are restructuring their lines from 12 down to 6, so there's a lot of change in conditions and so on, shifts and so on, that is involved in that, and that is what's being negotiated. But I think there is something to work with. As Fianna McGrath has said, this is a company with a very long history. They've provided quality employment over a long period, and I hope that we can work to continue that they will continue to be an important employer after this. But I share with other deputies sympathy for those who are confronted with this uncertainty, and we will do our best to work with them to get the best possible outcome.
Thank you, Minister.